A broke girl battling her wardrobe malfunctions and a billionaire CEO catching feelings fast. Before we jump in, drop a comment saying where you're watching from. Let's dive in. Maria Summer was sprinting down a Chicago sidewalk like she was chasing Olympic gold, only her obstacles were her tangled purse strap, a rebellious ballet flat slapping against the pavement, and her own legs fighting gravity. Her phone buzzed from inside her bag, stuck between mints and an open lip gloss. Her best friend, Zoe, was blowing up her inbox like a natural disaster alert system. Maria, you have exactly 5 minutes to get here. Maria tried texting back while running, only to send something autocorrected into bringing cheddar and mashed potatoes. She gave up. Survival now, explanations later. When she finally spotted the towering glass structure of Carter and Company Enterprises, hope sparked inside her. Maybe she wasn't completely doomed. Then she caught her reflection in the building's sleek windows, and that hope died a quick death. Her eyes widened in horror. The zipper of her dress was proudly in the front, the giant tag stuck to her chest like a clearance sticker, and the neckline that belonged in the back had taken center stage. How did this even? She spun in place, trying to check her back using the reflection, nearly colliding with a man walking a bulldog. She launched into a chaotic adjustment frenzy that could have won awards on a fashion reality show, tugging, twisting, yanking, biting at the tag, all while muttering nonsense. Why didn't I wear jeans? Why did they make tags the size of CVS receipts? I am an actual hazard. On the top floor of Carter and Company, 34-year-old Nathaniel Carter, famously composed, ruthlessly efficient, allergic to fun, was striding down the hallway with his usual "I dare you to talk to me" face. He glanced out the window on a whim and froze. What happened next would be retold in Company legend. The ice-cold CEO laughed. Out loud. A deep, genuine, echoing laugh that made passing employees freeze mid-step, wondering if someone hacked the PA system. Alex, Nathaniel's assistant, rushed in like the building was on fire. Mr. Carter, is everything all right? Still catching his breath, Nathaniel pointed toward the window. Look, that girl down there is wrestling her dress like it's a wild animal. Alex peered outside and saw Maria's solo performance. She's probably just fixing her outfit. Nathaniel laughed even harder. Fixing? That's not fixing, that's a fashion apocalypse in real time. Wiping tears of laughter, Nathaniel waved his hand. Canceled my 9 a.m. merger meeting. I need to see this woman in person. Downstairs, Maria had MacGyvered her dress together with a bobby pin. It was something between modern art and last-minute crisis couture. She took a shaky breath and whispered to her reflection, "This'll have to do." With enough force to nearly trap herself in the spinning glass doors, Maria burst into the lobby, only to freeze. The entire space oozed wealth. Marble floors, towering reception desks, art installations, and receptionists in designer suits that could probably pay off her student loans. Maria, in her chaotic glory, looked like she'd taken a wrong turn after a backyard barbecue. She made her way to the front desk, her rogue ballet flat flapping like a fish out of water. "Hi, I'm here for the assistant interview," she said with the smile of someone on the verge of collapse. The receptionist didn't even blink. "Name? Maria Summer. 25th floor," the woman said, pointing with a single, disapproving manicure. Maria rode the elevator alone, whispering to herself, "Just breathe. Be small. Smile. Don't trip. Easy." The elevator dinged open, and Maria collided full speed into a wall of man and hot coffee. "Oh my gosh. I'll pay for the shirt." Maria panicked, digging a crumpled $20 from her purse and pushing it toward him. Nathaniel blinked at the bill. $20? You think that'll cover this? She eyed the coffee stain. Okay, 5 easy payments and a healthy dose of sass? Nathaniel fought a smile. Let me guess, assistant interview? Maria Summer, she nodded, cheeks flushed. Just trying to get to the room. Or wherever disaster takes me next. He gestured to the door beside him. Well then, good luck. You're gonna need it. Maria mumbled thanks, having no idea she just spilled coffee on the CEO. Inside the interview room, she felt like she'd already been eliminated from the competition. Her pulse thundered like a drumline. She coughed, spilled coffee still lingering in the air. 3 people stared at her from across a crystal-clear glass table. Her resume was already printed. Perfect. Her humiliation could now begin immediately. "Miss Summer, correct?" asked a woman with a no-nonsense bun and a lemon-eating expression. "Absolutely," Maria said with too much energy. "You can begin by introducing yourself," said a silver-haired man who looked straight out of a legal drama. Maria flipped her hair, accidentally loosening the bobby pin that held her dress together. Hi, I'm Maria Summer and I love learning new things. Then her phone, thought to be on silent, blared at full volume. It was a horrifying remix of Happy Birthday and ambulance sirens crafted by Zoe as a joke. Maria fumbled the phone, hit every wrong button, and accidentally answered. Girl, did you get the job? Did you break something? Zoe's voice echoed. Maria hung up like she was ending a ghost call. Sorry. My best friend's just dramatic. No one laughed. What are your strongest skills? Asked the older man. Maria's brain emptied. I do a killer motorcycle horn impression? Excuse me. I mean improvising. I'm amazing at improvising. For example, this bobby pin is keeping my dress together and doubles as a paperclip. Versatility was her superpower. Before they could respond, a breeze from the open window caught her resume and sucked it into the air vent like a reverse lottery ticket. Maria leapt up to catch it and knocked over a glass of water in the process, soaking one of the interviewer's folders. Oh no. I'll fix it. She pulled a sheet of paper from her bag, except it wasn't a clean sheet. It was her grocery list, complete with bold notes, ultra-strong laxatives, extra deodorant, and sanitary pads. Silence. So heavy it could crush dreams. I'm super organized, as you can tell, she said weakly. The bun woman rubbed her temples. Why do you want to work at Carter and Company? This was the one question Maria had practiced in the mirror, in the shower, and while brushing her teeth. And her brain? Blank. Because, she took a breath, I need to pay bills. And it'd be great to do that without selling homemade fudge on the sidewalk. The gray-haired man lowered his glasses. You're aware this is a multinational corporation? Totally, she nodded. And if you hire me, I promise to retire from fudge peddling and give this job all my love. Want to try one? I brought samples. She reached into her bag only to pull out a rolled pair of tights. Not fudge. Never mind. Everyone stared. Then the door swung open. Nathaniel entered, coffee-stained shirt, amused smirk intact. Maria blinked. You, she gasped. Do you two know each other? Asked the bun lady. He's the coffee guy. I'm the CEO, he replied. Maria froze. Can I have a nervous breakdown for 60 seconds? Nathaniel ignored her. The interview's over. Maria stood. Right? I understand. She's hired, he finished. But Mr. Carter, this applicant, began the bun woman. This applicant, Nathaniel interrupted, has exactly what Carter and Company needs. Guts, creativity, and the rare ability to turn an ordinary day into something unforgettable. Maria blinked. So, this means I'm hired? Nathaniel nodded. Welcome to Carter and Company, Maria, and bring some of that fudge tomorrow. I'm curious now. Maria could only mumble, Sure thing, coffee boss. Just like that, the weirdest and most successful interview in the company's history came to a close. She walked out like a stunned survivor of a corporate earthquake, still clutching the crumpled $20 from earlier. Is this a sign from the universe, or just a receipt for my chaos? She muttered as she passed a hallway of silent, suit-wearing professionals. What she didn't know was that Nathaniel hadn't hired her because of qualifications, or even pity. From the moment he saw that girl tangling with her dress in the reflection of his building, something in him cracked open. Maria was unlike anyone he'd ever met. That night, when she got home, Zoe was already waiting with a saucepan of fudge and a face full of curiosity. Did they fire you before or after the interview? I got the job, Maria mumbled, full-mouthed with fudge. Zoe's eyes went wide. You got hired? After spilling coffee on the CEO? What are you, a wizard? I don't know. Maria flopped onto the couch. I ruined his shirt, flooded the table, answered my ringtone mid-interview, and still somehow walked out employed. You're a legend, Zoe said, handing her more fudge. They laughed late into the night, joking that maybe Maria's real talent was turning humiliation into career opportunities. The next morning, Maria showed up at Carter and Company dressed as professionally as she could manage. White blouse, a pencil skirt, and heels that probably hadn't seen daylight since her great-aunt danced salsa in them back in the 80s. As soon as she walked into the building, she felt the stares. She wasn't imagining it. People were actually watching her. Is that the coffee girl? Whispered a marketing analyst. I heard she's Nathaniel Carter's long-lost cousin, or his secret girlfriend, or maybe a TikTok witch, someone else replied. Oblivious to the gossip whirlwind, Maria grabbed her temporary badge and headed to the top floor, where her new workstation waited, right outside Nathaniel's office. Red flag number 1. Her first task was simple: organize Nathaniel's digital files. But simple wasn't part of Maria's vocabulary. Within minutes, she'd scrambled folders, sent sensitive documents to the HR printer, and somehow set Nathaniel's email auto-reply to a gif of a dancing llama. When Nathaniel returned from a meeting, he opened his inbox and froze at the sight of the llama doing cha-cha for a group of confused investors. "Maria," he called, half laughing. She peeked into his office, already looking guilty. "Was that me?" "It was," he nodded toward the screen. "You think this llama inspires confidence?" "Depends on the company," she offered. Instead of being angry, Nathaniel smiled. "Congratulations, you just broke the chaos record in under 2 hours. I take efficiency seriously," Maria said, bowing dramatically. The next few days turned into a wild ride. Maria was a walking sitcom. She tried making coffee for Nathaniel, triggered the fire alarm. She tripped on her shoelace and sent a pile of contracts flying. She answered an international call, thought it was a prank, and replied in a mix of English and exaggerated soap opera Spanish. Nathaniel was torn between laughing and rethinking every HR policy. But strangely, he couldn't stay mad at her. If anything, her presence brought a kind of chaos that felt alive. The executive floor, once silent and sterile, now buzzed with rumors. "She's a corporate spy sent to test his limits. Maybe she's an undercover heiress. I bet she saved his life in a past life." Maria didn't care. She just kept being Maria, and Nathaniel couldn't look away. One morning, Nathaniel invited Maria to a high-stakes dinner with international clients. Maria nearly dropped her stapler. "You want me to attend that dinner?" she asked. "Are you sure? I'm a walking tornado." "Exactly," he said with a smile. "I like to keep things interesting. I have nothing to wear. The company will handle it. Can I eat more than I talk?" "Please do." That night, Maria showed up in a bold red dress Zoe picked out to ensure she made an impression, and stilettos that felt like foot torture devices. She was nervous, so she filled the silence with non-stop rambling. Things were going okay until she pointed at a man holding a tray of appetizers and blurted, "Sir, can I get a really stuffed chicken croquette? I'm feeling bougie." The sir turned out to be one of the most powerful investors in Asia. Everyone froze. Nathaniel closed his eyes. Maria froze. Then the investor started laughing hard. Wine nearly came out of his nose. To everyone's shock, the mood lightened. On the drive home, Nathaniel looked over and said, "You are the most brilliantly chaotic human I've ever met." Maria grinned. "Is that a compliment or a medical diagnosis?" "Little of both." The next morning, Maria arrived determined to be professional. She had studied a corporate etiquette guide while eating leftover pizza and had written down key phrases to use throughout the day. Her goal, one full day without a single catastrophe. Naturally, it failed before 9 a.m. She reached into her bag for her ID badge, but instead pulled out a pack of gum and rubbed it against the security scanner. "Are you trying to bribe the gate with mint?" Nathaniel asked behind her, sipping from a spill-proof mug. "Oh, good morning, sir." "I mean, Nathaniel," she fumbled, pulling out the correct card. "Morning, Maria," he replied. "What disaster are we starting with today?" At her desk, Maria found a stack of papers and a note from Alex. "Please scan and save these contracts in the folder labeled Urgent Contracts 2025. Let me know if you need help." Should be simple. 30 minutes later, she'd scanned the contracts upside down, saved them as image files, and renamed them Help Paperwork and Mystery Thing 3. Then she got her skirt caught on the filing cabinet and spilled everything, staplers, sticky notes, highlighters, onto the floor. As she picked them up, her phone rang. "Executive Office, Maria speaking." "How can I help you?" she said as professionally as possible. "Any chance you could bring me a coffee?" Nathaniel's voice replied, full of amusement. "Of course," she beamed. Her task, bring him a simple cup of coffee. Easy? Not for Maria. She poured too quickly, splashed her blouse, added sugar to the wrong cup, stirred with a pen, and hit the machine's alarm button by accident. By the time she entered Nathaniel's office, her blouse was stained, the coffee cup was leaking, and her face was a mix of panic and hope. "Here's your coffee, fresh and energetic." Nathaniel took the cup like it was a bomb. "Thank you, Maria. I'll cherish every sip." She tried to be productive. She answered emails, accidentally signed one as Maria S. Oops. She updated a spreadsheet and somehow logged a $500,000 transaction as purchase of 5,000 chicken croquettes. She joined a video call with German investors and greeted them confidently with "Good moolah." Professionalism was overrated anyway. Maria's reputation at Carter & Company was officially cemented. At lunch, she decided to heat up some noodles. She placed the cup in the sleek, high-tech office microwave and accidentally turned on the grill setting. The noodles ignited like a campfire. Smoke filled the kitchen. The fire alarm blared. The executive floor was evacuated. Maria, coughing and clutching a melted noodle cup, had to explain to the building security that this was not a terrorist plot, just hunger and poor microwave skills. Later, she answered another call. Executive office, Maria speaking. "Hello, this is Mr. Wong from Hong Kong. May I speak to Mr. Carter?" Nervous, Maria responded, "Yes, Mr. Wong Kong, I call boss now, thank you very much please." Nathaniel, passing by, overheard everything and nearly choked laughing. The day ended with Maria accidentally locking herself in the supply room for 30 minutes until Alex found her banging on the door. How did you lock yourself in?" "I have hidden talents," Maria answered seriously. At day's end, Nathaniel called her in. "Have a seat," he said. "Am I being fired?" she asked immediately. "Amazingly, no." He crossed his arms. "Do you try to be this chaotic? Or is it just nature?" Maria shrugged. "I don't do it on purpose. I think life just has a personal vendetta." Nathaniel chuckled. "Well, it might be crazy, but I like it." "You do?" She blinked. "This company used to be stiff and dull. You show up and it's chaos, but it's fun. I haven't laughed this much in years." Maria smiled. "So, that's a compliment? Think of it as your official certificate of controlled madness." "Don't worry, boss. Tomorrow I'll bring the full apocalypse." The next morning, Maria arrived early and wearing a simple outfit, no flying straps or stuck zippers. She even brought her own coffee in a spill-proof travel mug. "This is the day I become normal," she whispered in the elevator. She was wrong. The moment she stepped into the lobby, Alex ran up. "Maria, you've been assigned to accompany Mr. Carter to a business dinner tonight." Maria choked on her coffee. "Dinner? With clients? Me?" "Direct order," Alex replied. "He said he wants your chaotic energy to spice things up." "Am I an executive or a sideshow?" "Depends on the hour." At 7 p.m., Maria showed up in a classy black dress borrowed from Zoe, paired with heels that should have come with a warning label. Nathaniel was already in the car, dressed like he stepped out of a GQ cover. "Good evening, boss," she said formally. "Good evening, Hurricane," he smirked. "Why am I going again? Wouldn't a professional be better? If the conversation gets boring, I know you'll fix that." Wow. From office mascot to chaos consultant. The moment they entered the Bellamy, Chicago's fanciest restaurant, Maria knew she didn't belong. Sparkling chandeliers, perfect glassware, waiters gliding like dancers. She tried to walk confidently, but her heel caught on the rug and she fell right into Nathaniel's arms. "I'm fine," she announced too loudly. "I'm sure you are," he said, holding back a laugh. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought because of the tray," Maria gestured frantically, trying to backtrack. The man laughed harder. "That was great. Finally. A dinner that doesn't feel like a tax seminar." Nathaniel gave Maria a sidelong glance. Half grateful, half amazed. "Told you you'd be useful." Maria gave a weak smile and focused on not toppling over a centerpiece. As the dinner continued, she tried her best to blend in, until the soup arrived. A fancy dish with a name so long it needed its own zip code. Maria leaned over the bowl and blew on it a little too enthusiastically, sending a fine mist across the German investor's tailored suit. "I'll wash that for you," she panicked, reaching toward him. "Please don't." Nathaniel cut in, blocking her hand mid-reach. "Maybe just sparkling water to soothe the trauma?" suggested Mr. Kim, one of the investors, with a smile. Maria grabbed the bottle, then absent-mindedly shook it like it was orange juice. It exploded. A fountain of bubbles sprayed across half the table. Everyone gasped. Nathaniel slowly reached for a napkin. "I'm a gift," Maria declared. "A very wet one." To her surprise, no one seemed upset. In fact, the room had lightened up. Maria's unfiltered presence made people relax. When dessert arrived, she tried to sound sophisticated. "This ice cream is extremely refined." "It's mousse," Nathaniel whispered, nearly snorting from laughter. "Mousse, fancy ice cream, same genre," she shrugged. At the end of the night, after the guests had left declaring it the most entertaining business dinner ever, Maria leaned against a wall near the exit. "Was it really that bad?" she asked, out of breath. It was like skydiving with no parachute, Nathaniel replied. But they loved it. And I kinda did too. Maria narrowed her eyes. Are you crazy or just really into suffering? Neither, he said softly. I just like people who are real. And you? You're the realest person who's ever set foot in the Bellamy. She blushed. Thank you, I think. And since we're being real, I have a challenge for you. Nathaniel raised an eyebrow. A challenge? I bet you $500 you can't turn me into a refined lady in 30 days. Maria laughed so loud nearby waitstaff looked over. Refined? Me? I once tried eating sushi with a spoon. Nathaniel smirked. If I win, you owe me a proper dinner. If not, I buy you breakfast for a week. Deal, she said, shaking his hand. Maria had no idea that one ridiculous bet would spiral into something much bigger than breakfast. Driving home, she giggled alone in her car. Refined lady? Poor Nathaniel. As soon as she got home, she FaceTimed Zoe. I've got 30 days to become a princess. Zoe cackled. Princess? Girl, you're the fairy godmother with Wi-Fi issues. Exactly why I need your help. Okay, your royal training starts tomorrow. But let Nathaniel know, he's gonna need backup prayers. I am the miracle, a miracle of chaos. The next morning, Maria woke up to a text. Morning, hurricane. Training starts at 10 a.m. Wear something comfortable. Try not to start a fire before then. She groaned, tossing her phone onto her bed. Comfortable? What does he think this is, a yoga retreat? After 3 outfit changes and 2 panic texts to Zoe, Maria showed up to Carter and Company in a neon avocado print tracksuit and blinking LED sneakers. Waiting for her in the conference room was Nathaniel, and a woman with the strictest bun in the Midwest, designer heels, and a gaze so sharp it could slice glass. Maria, meet Mrs. Penelope von Schneider, Nathaniel announced. She's an expert in etiquette, behavior, and apparently infinite patience. Penelope stared at Maria's outfit in complete silence. She's your project? She finally asked. Nathaniel grinned. The challenge of a lifetime. Penelope sighed. Let's begin. Lesson 1, posture. Maria attempted to sit up straight and looked more like she was trying to avoid back spasms. After 5 minutes of failed adjustments, Penelope gave up. Let's try table manners instead. She set up a formal dining setup, silverware, crystal glasses, and linen napkins. Maria stared at it like it was an IKEA assembly manual. Do I eat with this or perform minor surgery? The napkin goes on your lap, Penelope said. Maria folded it into a boat. I learned this on YouTube. On your lap, right? Then she reached for the soup spoon and chose the dessert one. That's for mousse. Mousse soup. Maria blinked. Rich people are weird. Nathaniel covered his mouth to hide his laughter. Next came walking practice. Penelope handed Maria a hardcover book and told her to walk across the room with it balanced on her head. Maria took 3 steps. The book fell. She tried to catch it, tripped, knocked over a tray of fine china. The sound of shattering echoed through the office. Maria stood in the mess, raising her hand. Do I get a trophy? You get a survival ribbon, Nathaniel replied, trying not to laugh. Speech etiquette was even worse. Penelope had her rehearse polite greetings. Good afternoon, it's a pleasure to meet you, Penelope instructed. Sup, boss? Great to vibe, Maria replied with a wink. Penelope muttered something in French. It wasn't kind. Try introducing yourself at a gala. Maria bowed dramatically. Hi there, red carpet legends. I'm Maria, connoisseur of snacks and spontaneous elevator dancing. Nathaniel nearly fell out of his chair. I'm not sure the world is ready for you, he said. After a chaotic morning, Penelope declared a change of plans. We're going to a real restaurant. Maybe osmosis will help her absorb some elegance. Maria threw in a little dance move. Bring it on. At lunch, she tried her best, sat up straight for almost 3 minutes, used the right fork by accident, and even ordered sparkling water without saying, make it fizzy. Then came the escargot. She peered at it suspiciously. Is the snail judging me? It's a delicacy, Penelope explained. It's nasty, Maria replied, sliding the plate away. Then she tried cutting a bite of steak that was barely bigger than her knife blade and launched it directly onto Nathaniel's plate. Guess it's yours now, she shrugged. Back at the office, Penelope was defeated. Mr. Carter, this girl is a lost cause. I know, Nathaniel said. But she's my lost cause. Maria smiled. Was that romantic or a gentle firing? Could be both. The week continued. During dance lessons, Maria stepped on Nathaniel's shoes so many times he ended up dancing alone out of self-defense. During the elevator etiquette lesson, Maria pressed every button on instinct, turning a 10-second ride into a full-floor tour. In fashion training, Penelope explained color theory and elegant pairings. The next day, Maria showed up in a hot pink blazer, neon green skirt, and gold sequined headband. Nathaniel blinked. Are you dressed for Mardi Gras? It's called Executive Tropical, Maria announced, strutting through the hallway like it was Fashion Week. Applause followed, mostly from the mailroom. Nathaniel realized something. Trying to change Maria was like trying to iron a tornado. And maybe that wasn't a bad thing. On the last day of training, Penelope set up a test dinner with carefully selected guests. Maria, of course, arrived late, tripped at the door, and launched the appetizer into Nathaniel's lap. Tradition. But then something shifted. Penelope introduced Maria. She gave a small, lopsided bow and said, "Good evening. I'm Maria Summer, proud queen of boardroom blunders." The guests laughed. Even Penelope chuckled. That's when Nathaniel understood Maria didn't need to change. She just needed to be exactly who she was. As the evening ended, he walked her to the elevator. "So, did I pass?" she asked. "No. But you were you, and that's better. Are you flirting or tired of my nonsense?" "Maybe both." They smiled. For once, Maria didn't trip stepping out of the elevator. Nathaniel glanced at the building's reflection and remembered her first day, that inside-out dress, the tag on her chest, and the laugh that changed everything. That night, Maria lay on her bed, phone in hand, talking to Zoe. "I almost knocked out Penelope with a champagne cork. But what about Nathaniel?" Zoe asked eagerly. Maria went quiet for a moment. Nathaniel. He had been kind, patient, and weirdly accepting of every accidental disaster. "He's different," she admitted. "He's not that stiff boss I imagined. There's this dry humor under the tie. Like a surprise center in a fancy chocolate." "Oh no. You like him," Zoe teased. "It's not." Maria paused. "Okay, maybe. But it's impossible. He's Nathaniel Carter, CEO of Carter & Company. And I'm the girl who showed up to the interview with her dress inside out." Before Zoe could dig deeper, Maria's phone buzzed. An email. Subject: You're invited, Carter & Company. Annual Gala. Theme: A celebration of originality. At the bottom, a handwritten note. "It wouldn't be complete without you. Nathaniel." Zoe screamed. "This is a romantic summons." "Or a trap," Maria muttered. "Or a romantic trap, which is even better." "You know what?" Maria said with a smirk. "If he wants an impression, I'll give him the best one yet." On the night of the gala, Maria stepped into the lobby of Carter & Company wearing the same navy blue dress from her first interview, once again completely inside out. Tag showing. Hem crooked. Strap twisted. It was a deliberate choice. All eyes turned. Some guests gasped. Others whispered. Maria held her head high, marching through the crowd like she was on a runway. Nathaniel, mid-speech on stage, saw her walk in and burst out laughing. And that's why he tried to continue. "You know what? Scratch that." He stepped off the stage, took the microphone, and headed straight toward her. "Tonight isn't just about originality," he said. "It's about the one person who reminded me that perfection is overrated and that sometimes the best things happen when everything goes completely wrong." Maria's cheeks flushed, but she smiled. "This person," he continued, "taught me that laughing until your stomach hurts is better than pretending everything's fine. That spilled coffee can start a love story. And that real love embraces you, inside-out dress and all." Then he dropped to one knee in the middle of the glittering lobby and pulled out a ring box. "Maria Summer, will you marry me and help me turn every day into the most chaotic rom-com ever written?" The crowd exploded into cheers. Zoe was bawling like it was her engagement. Maria wiped a tear, grabbed the mic, and said, "Only if I can keep wearing my dresses backwards." "Deal," Nathaniel grinned. They kissed as cocktail napkins rained from above like DIY flower petals. The gala turned into a double celebration. The company's annual party, and the CEO's spontaneous engagement. Maria and Nathaniel danced in the middle of the room, spilled juice on each other, and laughed like no one was watching. A few months later, the wedding happened, obviously not the traditional kind. Maria's veil got tangled around her heel. Nathaniel forgot half his vows. The cake collapsed before they even got the first slice. None of it mattered, because in the middle of chaos, melted frosting, and laughter, one thing was clear. They were happy. That night, barefoot under twinkling fairy lights on a makeshift dance floor. Nathaniel leaned in and whispered, "This was the most perfect wedding in the world. Even with my dress tear, the fallen cake, and my dad crying so hard he passed out, especially because of that." He cupped her face. Both were still laughing. "With you," he said, "even chaos feels perfect." "Well, buckle up," Maria replied, "because I am a hurricane." She pulled him into a kiss, full of love, laughter, and the certainty that their perfectly imperfect life was just beginning. The next morning, Maria burst into Carter and Company with a giant iced coffee and a box of sprinkled donuts. She marched up to the front desk and announced, "Happy Motivational Monday," also known as "Let's stuff the CEO with sugar so he forgets his responsibilities." But before she could even reach the elevator, a sleek black car pulled up in front of the building. Out stepped a woman who looked like she just walked off the cover of Vogue. Glossy blonde waves, oversized sunglasses, a silver power dress so tight it could double as armor, and a designer handbag worth more than Maria's entire wardrobe. The woman approached with the smile of a politician and the warmth of a refrigerator. "You must be Maria," she said. "I am. And you are?" "Vanessa Blake, Nathaniel's ex-fiancée." Maria nearly dropped the donut box. Of course she knew who Vanessa was. Rumors about her abandoning Nathaniel before the wedding were office folklore. "Oh wow, what a surprise." Maria smiled politely. "Surprise?" Vanessa chuckled. "Let's call it a courtesy visit. After all, I had to meet the one keeping my spot warm." Maria's jaw clenched. "Not just keeping it warm," she replied sweetly. "I'm renovating it with love, chaos, and custom snacks." Vanessa blinked, then turned and strutted into the building. Maria muttered, "This is going to be a problem," and downed 2 donuts in rapid succession. Inside the conference room, Nathaniel looked up as Vanessa walked in. His smile vanished instantly. "What are you doing here?" "Oh, just visiting an old friend," she said, plopping into a chair like she owned it. Maria arrived moments later and paused in the doorway. "Am I interrupting something?" she asked, though she clearly wanted to. "Of course not, darling," Vanessa cooed before Nathaniel could speak. "I've always been curious about the replacement." Maria walked in and sat right next to Nathaniel, taking his hand. "I love it when exes manage to act civilized," she said with a smile. "So mature." Vanessa narrowed her eyes. "Do you know what maturity is?" "Absolutely," Maria said. "It's bringing someone breakfast and not emotionally blackmailing them afterward." "I brought pancakes." "Ever try that, Vanessa?" Nathaniel covered his face, silently praying to the PR gods. Vanessa stood, her heels clicking against the floor like a countdown. "This isn't a fairy tale," she hissed. "Nope," Maria grinned. "It's a romantic comedy with a really dramatic antagonist." Vanessa grabbed her bag and stormed out. "You didn't have to provoke her," Nathaniel said, though his smirk betrayed him. "Oh, I had to," Maria replied. "That woman thinks she owns your heart and your parking spot." And just like that, the Cold War began. The next day, Vanessa posted an old photo of her and Nathaniel on a yacht with the caption, "Some bonds are unbreakable." Maria clapped back with a video of her and Nathaniel paddling a tiny inflatable boat in a kiddie pool. "Some bonds come with floaties." Fans took sides. Hashtags trended. Hashtag Team Maria was born. "You two are going to destroy my reputation," Nathaniel groaned. "Or make you the most lovable CEO in America," Maria winked. The drama peaked at a company event when Vanessa, completely uninvited, hijacked the microphone. "Let's take a moment to reflect on the good old days," she began, launching into stories about her relationship with Nathaniel as if they were royalty. Maria had heard enough. She marched on stage, grabbed a spare mic and said, "Let's clarify something. I might not have yacht photos, but Nathaniel has laughed more in the past few weeks than he did in years." The crowd erupted in applause. Vanessa stormed off stage. Nathaniel, without hesitation, pulled Maria into a hug, in front of everyone. "You're insane," he whispered. "And you love it," she replied. The next morning, Maria tried to pretend like nothing happened. She was still the same walking disaster, still spilled coffee, still called a VP chief donut officer, Still sent an accidental heart emoji in a legal document. But when the elevator doors closed behind her, she realized she wasn't alone. Nathaniel stepped in, holding a cup of tea, not coffee. "You're drinking tea?" Maria asked, shocked. "Are you okay?" "You got me hooked," he replied, showing her the chamomile bag. "After that dinner at your apartment." Maria blinked. "Next thing I know, you'll be singing 90s boy band karaoke." "Not even under federal threat," he replied, dead serious. Just then, the elevator jolted and stopped. The elevator jolted again. Lights flickered. Then nothing. "We're stuck," Nathaniel concluded, pressing buttons with no success. Maria crossed her arms. "Of course. Me trapped in an elevator with my fake fiancé. The cursed dress strikes again." Nathaniel leaned casually against the wall. "At least you're not alone." Maria looked down at the floor, nerves building. Being alone with Nathaniel in a tiny space wasn't exactly helping her not fall for him. "Wanna play something?" she asked suddenly. "Truth or dare?" "Are you serious?" he chuckled. "Fine. I'm great at this game. Truth or dare?" "Truth. Do you like working here?" He smiled slightly. "I do. Especially lately. Every day is a gamble. Am I getting a report or a fire drill?" She laughed. "Okay, your turn. Truth or dare?" "Truth." He thought for a second, then leaned forward. "Why did you really apply for this job?" Maria hesitated. "Honestly? I was desperate. I was 2 days away from selling fudge out of a shopping cart." Nathaniel chuckled. "You picked the right company." "My turn again. Truth or dare?" "Dare." "Okay," she grinned. "Close your eyes." He obeyed. "Now tell me the first thing you thought when you saw me before knowing who I was." Nathaniel opened one eye. "That's a question, not a dare." "Oops," she said innocently. "Side effect of trusting me." He sighed. "Fine. I thought you looked like someone who accidentally wandered into a job interview from a Halloween party." Maria burst out laughing. "Fair. I thought you were a perfume model." Nathaniel laughed louder. "A perfume model? I'm terrible at first impressions," she said. Just then, the elevator jolted and Maria stumbled directly into Nathaniel's arms. Their faces were inches apart. "I think it's my turn to ask something," she whispered. "Ask. This fake relationship, is it still just pretend?" Nathaniel didn't answer with words. Instead, he leaned in and kissed her. It was awkward. She was holding a donut bag. He still had his tea, but it was real. And messy. And perfect. The elevator started again just as their kiss ended. The doors opened onto the executive floor and, of course, a small crowd was waiting. Maria's hair was a mess. Nathaniel's tie was crooked. They both had goofy, guilty smiles. Zoe texted immediately. "You kissed in the elevator. I win the bet." Nathaniel grabbed Maria's phone and replied. "Unconfirmed. Might have been a CPR demonstration." Maria laughed so hard she nearly tripped stepping out. In the following days, things changed. The fake relationship no longer felt fake. But neither of them said anything. They just kept being themselves. Maria still tripped over cords, sent ridiculous emails, and crashed a Zoom meeting by yelling, "Where's the donut fund?" into the mic. Nathaniel still followed behind, smoothing things over, rolling his eyes, and smiling more than ever before. But of course, peace never lasts. Especially not with Vanessa Blake still lurking. When she heard about the elevator incident, she posted an old picture of her and Nathaniel with the caption, "Some loves never fade." Maria retaliated with a selfie of her and Nathaniel in matching slippers that said boss and chaos. "Some loves wear dog slippers." Then, shockingly, Nathaniel joined in. He posted an old picture of Vanessa and captioned it, "Some exes never move on." The internet exploded. Maria looked at him, stunned. "You joined my meme war?" He shrugged. "I joined your life. And I'm enjoying the madness." For the first time, Maria realized maybe this wasn't just a game anymore. And she kind of loved the idea. The next morning, Maria showed up at Carter and Company holding a giant breakfast bag. "I brought Motivational Monday 2.0, she said, placing a donut box and a thermos on Nathaniel's desk. "Double bacon. Triple sugar. Let's fuel your brain cells." But before she could sit down, a knock on the glass. "Vanessa." She walked in with the calm of someone about to launch an emotional grenade. Nathaniel stood. "Vanessa, this really isn't a good time." "Always a good time to reconnect with old memories," she said smoothly. Maria hovered nearby. "Oh, don't leave, Maria," Vanessa said sweetly. "I've always wondered what kind of person comes after me." Maria stepped forward and took Nathaniel's hand. "I love when exes get along. It's so mature." Vanessa tilted her head. You think this is real, don't you? I think breakfast is real, Maria replied. Pancakes don't lie. Vanessa's smile faltered. Maria kept going. You know what's not real? Posting old photos to prove a point. We prefer real-life moments like burnt toast and mismatched socks. Nathaniel turned away to hide his laughter. Vanessa finally snapped, grabbed her bag, and left, heels echoing through the floor. Maria turned to Nathaniel. You okay? I was gonna ask you that. I'm great. I even resisted throwing syrup at her. You've grown, he said, mock serious. But Vanessa wasn't done. She posted another photo, this time of her and Nathaniel on a yacht, with the caption, Some stories aren't over. Maria responded by posting a video of her and Nathaniel struggling to paddle a plastic kayak in a public fountain. The internet crowned her queen. But things took a sharper turn at the annual company brunch. Vanessa, once again uninvited, grabbed the mic during dessert. I just want to say, she began, the past holds lessons. Beautiful memories. And sometimes a second chance. She looked directly at Nathaniel as she said it. Maria didn't wait this time. She marched on stage, took the second mic, and said, Just a quick update, Nathaniel has laughed more in the last few weeks than in the years I've known him. That's not a second chance. That's moving on. Applause thundered through the room. Vanessa, red with rage, stormed off. Nathaniel stepped forward and wrapped Maria in a hug. You're out of your mind, he whispered. And you love it. Later that night, Maria lay on her couch, staring at the ceiling. The moment on stage, the way Nathaniel looked at her, it wasn't fake. And that scared her. Zoe called. Okay, tell me everything. I think I actually like him, Maria admitted. Of course you do. You're the main character in your own rom-com. This isn't a movie, Zoe. This is my life. And the fake dating contract? It's ending soon. So what are you gonna do? Maria didn't know. All she knew was she didn't want it to end. Then came the bombshell. The next morning, a tabloid article dropped. Vanessa Blake tells all, still in love with billionaire CEO. The article featured weepy photos and quotes like, he was the one that got away. I'll do anything to win him back. Maria read it with a donut in one hand and rage in the other. Zoe burst into her office. She literally declared emotional war. Maria bit into the donut like she was biting her. She might have money, glamour, and followers, she muttered, but I have something she'll never have. What's that? Years of shared public humiliation. That's bonding. But deep down, Maria felt the pressure. She didn't want to be compared, pitted, or fought over. She just wanted Nathaniel to choose her for real. So that afternoon, she did the unthinkable. She resigned. I can't stay, she said, handing him the envelope. Not like this. Not with all of this hanging over us. Nathaniel looked like she'd punched him. Maria, you don't have to go. I do, she smiled sadly. I'm good at chaos. But maybe it's time I figure out how to clean it up. Before he could respond, she was gone. Days passed. She didn't answer messages. Ignored calls. She binge-watched crime shows and ate ice cream straight from the tub while Zoe staged emotional interventions. You can't just disappear. Zoe yelled. Watch me, Maria muttered between spoonfuls. Then, a week later, an envelope arrived. Golden. Embossed. Smith Global Annual Gala, a celebration of originality. At the bottom. It wouldn't be complete without you. Nathaniel. Zoe waved it like a magic wand. This is a love letter wrapped in cardstock. Or a trap, Maria said. Or a romantic trap. Maria looked at the invitation for a long moment. Then smiled. Let's give them something to talk about. On the night of the gala, Maria arrived wearing the same navy blue dress from her very first interview, again worn completely inside out. The tag flapped across her chest like a name badge. One strap twisted. The hem uneven. A full-circle moment. She walked through the glittering lobby of Carter and Company as gasps and stares followed her. Some were horrified. Most were enchanted. And right there, on stage mid-speech, Nathaniel Carter stopped talking and started laughing. He stepped down from the platform, grabbed a microphone, and made his way straight to her. You know what, he said. Forget what I was saying. He turned to the crowd. This event is supposed to celebrate originality. So tonight, I want to celebrate the person who redefined it for me. He gestured toward Maria. This woman walked into my life wearing her dress backwards, carrying a purse full of chaos, and somehow she made me laugh like I hadn't in years. Maria stood frozen, wide-eyed. Nathaniel dropped to one knee and pulled out a small box. Maria Summer, will you marry me and help me turn every day into the most unpredictable romantic comedy Chicago's ever seen? The crowd erupted. Zoe burst into tears. Maria blinked back her own. Took the mic and said, only if I can keep wearing my dresses backwards. Nathaniel laughed. That's part of the deal. Then yes, she said. He slipped the ring on her finger and they kissed while guests tossed cocktail napkins in the air like flower petals. The gala transformed into a full-on celebration. They danced, spilled drinks, knocked over a tower of macarons. It was a disaster and it was perfect. A few months later, their wedding was everything you'd expect. Maria's veil got caught on her shoe. Nathaniel forgot the last line of his vows. The cake tipped over before they even touched it. And still, it was the happiest day of their lives. Later that night, barefoot under strings of fairy lights, they danced on a makeshift wooden floor while Nathaniel whispered in her ear. This is the most perfect wedding in the world. Even with the dress disaster, the cake crash, and my dad fainting from emotion? Especially because of that. He pulled her closer. With you, Maria, even chaos feels like home. She smiled. Buckle up, Carter. I'm a hurricane. Then she kissed him, messy and joyful like the life they were about to live, full of coffee spills, clumsy miracles, and imperfect, unforgettable love.